Yo, what's going on? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. Hey, this episode is brought to you by wordy.com, reallyhood.com, and the Really Hood podcast. Let's jump in. So I finally caught up with this episode, and I have to say, just as a overall opinion, that this was a decent week. But here we go. If you would like to skip around and go directly to certain couples, then you know what to do. Go to the description area because I like to focus on one couple at a time, just so that I'm able to do my due diligence and discussing each couple's progress. I would like to first start off with Christopher and Nicole. So why not jump right in heavy and hard? Just jump right in. Does Christopher suffer from a lack of BDE? Big duck energy. Does he suffer from that? And I'm going to go ahead and just say I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that Chris is a good guy. He is someone who tries to be a good person. And yeah, you know what worries me is that we've become a culture that doesn't reward people like Chris. See, this is what happens. So it's like a double standard or even a catch 22. Christopher is a person who is trying to be a good man. He's trying to be a good husband. And once a man or a person tries to do the right thing, you know what somebody does? They come through and they find the deficiencies and say, "Wait, you're such a good person. Hey, you need some BDE. You need this, you need that." But if he was the typical person with BDE, the typical jerk, i.e., a heiress or something to that extent, someone who projects over chauvinistic behaviors, we would say, hey, you need to calm down. You need to be more humble. You need to be this. So, in essence, a person can't win. And this is a lesson that I've learned a long time ago. You can't win. You can't win. If you do this, they'll blame that. If you do that, they'll blame this. If you do this and that, they'll blame this. So, in essence, there's no way to win. So, no, I don't think that Chris suffers from a lack of BDE. So this episode has Nicole's father come over, and if you're anybody who's ever dealt with a girl's father or a wife's father, you know what's coming. You know that father's coming in to draw blood. He needs to understand. He needs to push buttons. He needs to see who this person is. And you know what? As much as I want to criticize Nicole's father, I can't. You know why? Because I have a daughter, and let me tell you something. I'm gonna just say a prayer right now. Shut up, Lord. Hallelujah. I want to say a prayer right now for her potential mate because this guy is going to get run through the ringer. There is no way that he's going to take my wife's or my daughter's hand and it's just going to be like, oh, I'm so happy. Good job, Mike. You did a great job. Good pick. I am going to push this guy's buttons. I am going to try to figure out who this guy is. There is no way that he's going to like me upon first meeting me. There's just no way. So I understand where Nicole's father is coming from. He's trying to understand this guy. And if you look back when they first got married, when their very first conversation, you saw Nicole's father and Chris have a discussion, and Chris was the nicest guy possible. You couldn't get nicer. However, Nicole's father was still punching and punching. And this is my concern when it comes to Chris. He takes so many punches. That's what he does. Is he takes so much damage. And I worry that at some point he's going to have enough. And by that particular point, it won't be about BDE. It'll be about I've had enough. It'll be enough. I've had enough. I've tried to be what society deems as a good person. And at one point, do I crack and break and become the a-hole that you all have been asking for? And I'll tell you why I feel that way, because you're looking at the perfect specimen who has become that person. Listen, I was the person that was super nice in high school. You wouldn't believe my nickname. My nickname was Mr. Friendly. That was my actual nickname in high school. And it's because I came in and I tried to be as nice as possible. And you've all been to high school. You know how high school is. You can't be a positive and nice person in high school. Are you kidding me? So I was a target a lot of times. And as such, I said, I give up. I can't be a nice guy. I forget it. You want Rick the Don? That is where Rick the Don was created. If you want to know the origins of Rick the Don, this is not completely the truth, but for the context of this episode, it kind of is. Rick the Don is a rougher, more rigid version of who I really am. I am actually a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? But I realized that nice guys actually do finish last. And I feel sorry for Chris because this guy is such a nice guy. And if y'all don't stop pushing Chris, He is going to become Chris the Dawn. And I worry. Now, I want to say just quickly, he did an amazing job this episode. So much shout out to Chris because this was their 1 month anniversary. And it was so funny to see them make such a big deal out of 1 month. When if you've ever been married or if you've been married for longer than a month, then you understand that that's not really significant. However, I wanted to give them a little grace because that's first off a very big pivotal word for this episode. But I want to give them grace because I've never been married at first sight. I've dated at first sight. I've went on a date at first sight, at blind sight, or whatever. But to be married at first sight, that is a completely different situation. And I don't want to pretend like I understand where these people are coming from and why they're acting the way they're acting. So, 1 month is significant to them. To me, no, not necessarily. But I do want to give Chris props and praise because he did something that was out of the ordinary. He took his wife on a helicopter ride. And I'll be the first one to say, watching this episode, I felt a little like, hey, hold on, bro. You trying to show me up? Like, hold on. Like, let me go on Google and let me figure out where a little helicopter ride at. Let me risk my life for love. I mean, that was funny. It was kind of funny to see him do that. And I would argue that he made a grand gesture to show his wife he really cared. And I think as a husband myself, I felt a little jealous. Like, wait a minute, bro. I need to step my game up. Man. I mean, he's doing this in the first month. And what I worry about is that Chris's efforts won't be appreciated because it's so much emphasis on what he's not doing. How about you focus on what he is doing? And I think that's what the problem is. And, I know you saw the thumbnail. I know you thought I was going to rag on Chris, but let me be the first one to tell you, I'm not going to rag on Chris because Chris is not showing big D energy. He's showing grown man energy. Did you hear what I said? He's showing grown man energy. A grown man doesn't have to demean his wife. A grown man doesn't have to put his wife down. A grown man doesn't have to put somebody else down to make himself, feel better about himself. He's showing grown man energy. A grown man makes his wife feel special. A grown man makes his wife feel secure. Nicole is the most secure that she's ever felt in her entire existence on the planet of Earth. And that includes her father. He's made her feel so confident. He's built his wife up. And this is what the problem, this is one of the problems in American marriages. Men need to work on building their wives up. And for those men who do it, it always comes across as if they have some type of deficiency. Oh, he must have this. No, we're doing what we should do. We're making our wife feel secure, confident. We're doing those things. And can I just say this? And I'm going to move on from this couple because I don't want to spend my entire time talking about this couple. And if you don't know already, go to the descriptions area to hop around. But let me just say this real quick. When it comes to in-laws, and I know someone's going to be offended, but in-laws, mothers of the bride, mothers of the groom, fathers of the bride, fathers of the groom, step off. Okay. Once your kid is over the age of 25, step off. Okay. We don't need you coming up. Like, I understand Nicole's father coming over to meet Chris and talk with him. I get that. But at some point, mothers, fathers, get out of your kid's life. Somebody needed to hear that. Somebody is monitoring the daily progress of their 40-year-old son or daughter's life. Back off. Okay. After 25, your kid is on their own. If you don't know that, now you know. Okay. And I thank God himself for having the parents that I had. My father, I love him. He allowed me to be me at the age of 17. Can you believe that? At 17, he said, Rick the Don, go make your mistakes. All right. My mother was a little less confident about my abilities to be an adult. She let me go about the age of 23. Okay. But I'm seeing a situation in which Nicole's father just appears to be a little too attached. Let her go, man. Let her make the mistakes she's going to make. Okay. That's what I got to say about that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this next couple, Airris and Jasmine. Oh my gosh. First off, let me just start off on a positive note before I go into my rant. Let me just say that I am appreciative of Airris's attempts to try to be better than he has been thus far. This episode starts off with Airris sitting at the bar with a friend. Can we please make a new rule? Is this a PSA? Ricky Don's a PSA. This is a PSA. Can we please stop going to people for advice that are not where you want to be? Okay. If you are a college student and you're panicking about being in college and all the pressures that come from being in college, let's not go to an elementary student and ask them for advice. Let's not go to a high school student. If you're in a marriage and you're struggling with your wife or your husband, let's not go to a single friend and say, hey, what do you think? Can you give me some advice? You've never been in a marriage before. You have to be an expert on this. Look, Airris starts his entire episode 11 with a friend who you can just tell has never sniffed a marriage. Okay, this guy has never sniffed a marriage, let alone have been in one. Now, I will give him a little grace because that's the word of the episode. He did not give terrible advice, but he did give advice. We have to normalize not taking advice from people who are not in situations that you want to be in. Airris, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was cool that you got a second opinion. And we also have to normalize, okay? Make it normal not to express the things that are going on in your marriage to people that are outside of your marriage. They are outside of your marriage for a reason. And, it has become too common. And this was very surprising for me. I've heard this happen. I'm just saying I've heard it happen where a woman, the wife, goes to her girlfriends and express all the things that the husband is not doing. So it's very surprising to see the husband go to a male friend and say, I'm sad because I'm not like, and you know what I hope happens, and this will not happen, and I know somebody's gonna get upset. But what I really hope happen when a guy goes to a male friend and expresses displeasures with his beautiful wife, not just his wife, but his beautiful wife, I just hope that his friends say, you know what, go ahead and leave her. You know what, she's not good for you. Let her go, leave her, go to the courthouse tomorrow. You want directions? Here's the directions to the courthouse. Divorce her. And I hope that he's setting him up for the play. And what I mean by that is his friend. I hope his friend look at his wife like, bro, she's beautiful. You don't want her? Yeah. The courthouse is over there. Yeah, go get that little divorce. And then hit her up in her DMs. You want to know why? Because Jasmine is a beautiful woman. Period. She's a beautiful woman. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it right now. This is not about how Jasmine looks. This is not about any of that. I'm going to tell you a secret. Men will stick their things into anything. Okay? Anything. That's the secret. Ladies, you heard it from me first. Men will stick their things into anything. So Airris's problem has nothing to do with how Jasmine looks. This is a fear that he has. Perhaps he doesn't want to do anything while the show is actively airing or recording, just in case he performs badly. Right? Because men struggle with that. There's something that Airris is struggling with, and instead of just saying that, he's deflecting. And as such, he's bringing down his wife, which is the suckerest thing that a man can do. A man who brings down his wife for his own confidence building is a sucker. Okay, he's an absolute sucker, lollipop. All right, that's what he's doing. He's making his wife feel insufficient, like she's doing something wrong. Jasmine, this episode, looked absolutely confused. She's running in circles trying to find answers. Like, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? She didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing, Jasmine. This is Airris's fault, okay? Because he has some type of insecurity. All right, you want to talk about BDE? You know what's funny? Maybe Airris is the one who really needs that, because let me tell you something. All right, no man is turning down Jasmine. No man is turning down Jasmine. Pick one. All right. Listen, no man is turning down Jasmine. Not a man in his right mind. A man will stick his thing into anything. All right. If the electrical socket wouldn't kill you, they'll stick it in there too. And the fact that this man hasn't even kissed his wife on the neck lets me know this. It's not Jasmine's problem. It's Airris's problem. And how dare him act like every woman he's been with has been more beautiful than Jasmine. I call BS on that. The problem is not Jasmine. The problem in this situation is Airris, and I've never seen it more than I saw it this episode. It's his fault. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I don't know if you can tell. Jasmine is a beautiful woman. I saw more than I've ever seen it. She knows how to, every woman, every woman just wants to be appreciated. And I just don't feel like he's appreciating his wife. She's a gorgeous woman, not beautiful. She's gorgeous. And the fact that he's still running around with this narrative, and he had the actual nerve to tell his friend, his single friend, that he's not feeling her physically. Man, I cannot wait till this guy sees Jasmine. And I just hope that he takes her. Somebody's gonna take Jasmine from Airris, right? And I hope it's too late. I hope it's right when Airris realizes what he has. Anyway, next is Clint and Gina. Can I just go ahead and put this out there? My last episode, I talked about Gina quite a bit, and the question in that episode was, is Gina here for love or for free publicity? And I thought that it was a valid question. And I still wonder that question sometimes. But let me go ahead and just say something real quick. First off, Gina had an amazing level of growth in this episode. She showed me that perhaps maybe she is not in this whole thing for, not maybe, just maybe she's not in this for free publicity. I don't know if she's actually in this whole experience for love, or if she is a good actress. This episode, I saw more than ever that Gina was becoming more and more comfortable. I still don't understand at this particular point why she hasn't given Clint the green light. Clint is hitting all of the buttons. Okay, listen. Gina couldn't tell me that she's given more love and more response to a man that has done less than Clint. She couldn't tell me that. All right, over the span of Gina's entire life, you cannot tell me she has not given more love and more attention to someone who's done less than Clint. Clint is hitting all of the buttons. I did not like Clint initially. I'll be the first to say it. But Clint is hitting all the buttons. He's showing up. He's very, more so than I realized, he's extremely positive. He's a nice guy. Like Gina, if Gina can't make it with Clint, I'll be the first to say it. She can't make it with anybody. There's nobody who's going to put the level of dedication and effort into a marriage with her than I'm seeing from Clint. Clint is doing everything right now. Now, it could be fake because I've been in relationships where you've tried everything. You tried being honest. You tried and being honest got you, negative reactions. So you went fake. And I think Clint is going fake. I think it's for a good purpose. Yes, Clint, keep it going. Keep being fake to try to turn her over, switch the climate. So continue to be fake. And at a later point, go back to your real self. What we saw in episodes 1 through 3 was the real Clint. Now we're seeing a fake Clint. Every time you see Clint on the camera, he's smiling, hey, cracking a joke. That's not really Clint. Clint is doing whatever a man has to do. This is something we all do. All men do. If we want a woman bad enough, we will change ourselves. And this is why I always tell women when I can, don't give out so early. I've talked to, seen, heard of many women giving out within the first couple of days, first one night stand, what have you. And a lot of times these women are single, they are not married. And I always say this, I say, look, hold out, wait. And when you do that, you basically make a man conform. Men are very, very gravitational. They're very instinctive. And when they meet women, they expect a prize within about 3 dates. If you make them wait beyond 3 dates, here's what happens. The man conforms to whatever you want. They'll do whatever you want. Whatever your complaints are, they'll conform to it because they want the prize so bad that they'll conform and contort themselves to fit whatever you need. And in this situation, and how I know Gina is playing games, is because Clint has conformed into the perfect ideal husband that Gina requires, and she still is not giving up. So I don't know, but I will say this as a saving grace or a final point. Gina, this episode showed me more than ever that she is starting to warm up. Clint's tactics are working. only time will tell. Now, there was a clip, and I'm not going to tell you explicitly what clip it was, but at one point, when I was watching this episode, they were side by side. I don't know what clip it was. I will say it was early in episode 11. Their face was really close, and whoever was doing the camera work had captured both of their faces in the frame. And let me tell you, I said, this is the perfect couple. I saw it for a glimpse, and someone else agrees with me on that. I know you do. And if you do, we see that we're seeing the show the same. I said, this is a beautiful couple. Look, I don't know what Gina's type is. I don't know what Gina wants, but let me tell you, Gina, Clint is the perfect match. The experts got it right. Look, I know we like to, say negative things about the experts. I'm the first one to do it, but let me tell you something. They're onto something when it comes to Clint and Gina. They are the perfect match. And the problem is, a lot of people, when they're right in front of what they need, they often when they're right in front of what's right for them, they go left. We've all been that way, right? I've been that way. When the right woman was in front of me, I didn't appreciate her. There's a woman, and I won't say her name on camera, and there's a woman that I know was really good for me, but I encountered her at a very terrible time in my life. And I always say to myself, it's too late to go back. And even though she might accept me, it would never be the same as it was when I met her at the age of 19. And I say to myself, if I was more mature, more mentally mature, more of a man and not a boy, I would have realized what I had. But that is not to say that I'm not incredibly appreciative of my beautiful wife that I have. Now, I'm just saying that we all have these thoughts, my wife included. We all have these thoughts of that one person you had before, but because of the timing, it was wrong. And I think that if Gina doesn't press the red button on Clint, I'm not sure how many more suitors are going to show up. And you can disagree. Go ahead, disagree. But that's my opinion. And I think that Clint is he's a darn good guy. And I've seen it more than ever. I've seen it more than ever this episode. And I'm not sure where it goes from here, if it goes higher or lower. But this episode showed me that Clint is exactly where he needs to be mentally to be a husband to somebody that's appreciative. Now, the question is Gina appreciative? Now, my final couple I want to talk about is Shaquille and Kirsten. I will go on record as saying this couple is one of the most confusing couples ever. And I want to start off with this point. First off, we heard a lot from Kirsten saying, hey, I need more attention. I need more affection. And ladies, let's have a conversation. Yeah, I'm going to take my time on this part. Ladies, can we talk? All right. This your man, Rick and Dawn. I'm just kicking it with you. I understand. I hear all. I hear you. But can we have a conversation, ladies? So Kirsten, on behalf of all women in the USA, is a little uncomfortable or perhaps a little uneasy about the level of affection that she's receiving from Shaquille. Now, ladies, Shaquille, and this is me speaking on behalf of the men of the world, the USA, what have you. Shaquille has done everything that his little bean head can figure out to do in order to make Kirsten feel, comfortable. Okay. Now, even though he's made all these contortions, he's did the Clint, he's did the Shaquille, he's did all these different things in order to make her feel more comfortable. And yet he has still not received what he would argue is the reward. We all know what the reward is. If you don't know what the reward is, you're watching this, you're too young to be watching me. Okay, so ladies, can we just let me hey fellas. I know I gotta be a couple guys in here. Hey guys, I got you. All right, ladies, let's have a conversation. All right, here we go. How do I say this nicely, ladies? If a guy is being vulnerable and he's he's talking, guys don't like to talk, ladies. Did you know that? You know that? Okay. Guys don't like to talk. The only reason we talk is to perhaps persuade you to give us the prize. All right. And let me tell you something, Kirsten, you are still complaining. This man has bent over backwards. He's bent over forwards. Okay. He's did everything he possibly can, and he has not received the reward. We all know the reward is. And still, you are still complaining and you are still asking for more. And I think even this episode, Kirsten, Shaquille has even told you, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. All right. I've plugged up every hole and you still ain't giving me the surprise. Okay. So what that means is, Kirsten, you are unpleasable. Ladies, let me just get something out the way real quick. Let me just say it straight up. Maybe I'm not hitting the target. Let me hit the target for you. Ladies, yeah, the S word is gas for men. You should not expect love, affection, conversation, cuddling, love, hugs, special time, special treatment, special vacations, uh, you name it. If you should not expect any of that if you're not giving your man the S. You understand? You understand? I'm not talking about the snacks. If you're not giving your man the S, you're not going to get nothing in return. We don't care about hugs. We don't care about affection. I'm speaking for all men in attendance. We don't care about love, affection. We don't care about hugs. We don't care about cuddling. We don't care about your mama. You don't care about your daddy. We don't care about your cousin. We don't care about your kids. We don't care about nothing except the S. Ladies, I am so sorry. I know. Somebody get her a tissue. Hey, get her a tissue. She crying. She didn't know that. We don't care about none of that stuff. We only care about the S. Okay. And if you're not giving your man an S, then you should not respect or expect anything in return, ladies. I know. Is the tissue coming? Is the tissue coming? Hurry up. Now, ladies, let's get this out the way. If you want your man to do anything for you, you got to give him the S. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know who you'd have been taught by. I don't know if your mama taught you how to treat it. I don't know who taught you. But let your main man, Rick Dawn, rewire some of these miswired things in your brain. If you don't give your man the S, you shouldn't expect nothing at all. Okay, if you think I'm tripping, go get in your car and drive mile and mile. Go drive for a month and see how far your car gets you without putting no gas in it. Listen, our gas is S. If you don't give the S, you should not expect to go far in your relationship. By now, Shaquille is running on triple E, quadruple E. He has no E in the tank. He has no love in the tank, no S in the tank. So, I really like Kirsten. And it only makes it worse that she's so beautiful. She's beautiful to me. And it only makes it worse that this man, I'm struggling for Shaquille because Shaquille has to sleep next to her every night. And he ain't getting no S. Now, I know this is TV. I know this is entertainment. But in a minute, if I watch the next episode and this man ain't got no S, I'm going to quite literally, pray for him to the Almighty God above. Because something is wrong with her. She don't understand male psychology. Okay, there's a such thing as male psychology. This episode showed me more than ever that Shaquille is about fed up. Shaquille has done the Clint. He's doing everything that he can possibly do to make this woman feel at home. He done took her skating. He done took her shopping for plants. He can't do nothing else. Look, by now, he should have. And you know what I really hate is that Kirsten is making her husband go through all these loops and jumps and hoops to give him the S. But you can't tell me. You cannot tell me this. I don't care. Get mad. Down like the video. I don't care what you do. You can't tell me she ain't gave somebody some on the first night. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. You can try. Go ahead. I'm listening. Don't believe you. All right. But she making her husband go through all these loops and hoops and these Cheerio hoops. And she won't give her man some. I'm over it. Hey, you know what? For a long time, I would say since episode 10, I was team Kirsten. But you know what? What's happening? I'm starting to wane off. I'm starting to realize that the problem is Kirsten. She's talking about quality time. He don't do this. He don't do that. And you heard what Shaquille said. He said, you know what? I feel like I'm doing it already. I do this. I do that. But it's like I'm not doing it according. And I was so happy to hear Shaquille say, like, you feel like the world revolves around you, Kirsten. And, it's really terrible because she doesn't understand. And, I just wish, Lord, I just wish that she could watch this episode. And if she could, I would say this, Kirsten, this is your moment right here. These words are for you. Give your husband some. He's your husband. I mean, you're not on Blind Date. You're not on a show called Blind Date. You're not on a show called We Just Met. You're on a show called Married at First Sight. You know what that means? You're a wife, and your duties, your absolute duties, is to feed your husband. And you know what we eat? We eat S. Okay? We don't eat conversation. We don't eat none of it. We eat S. And if you don't give your man some, it's a wrap. Like this episode.